It's really hard to say what is a Kurd. I tend to define a Kurd as someone who speaks Kurdish and says he or she is a Kurd. Kurds, I think they don't fit in a box easily for a foreign audience, and that's the reason we know not very much about them. They're Muslims, but they're not Arabs, which I think is the first stumbling block for us in America. And they're not Turks. Their physical features are sometimes distinct. You can sometimes tell who's a Kurd and who's an Arab. But I've also spoken with Kurds who told stories of escaping from security services or getting out of the country and not even realizing themselves that they were in a taxi full of Kurds until they heard the Kurdish language spoken. They're sort of defined as this geographic area, southeast Turkey, northwest Iran, the north of Iraq, and sort of the northeastern tip of Syria. Their history goes back to biblical times, and some people say that one of the three wise men was a Kurd, that they're linked back to the Medes. I didn't focus so much on ancient history in my book, so I'm not an expert on that. The most famous Kurd, the probably only famous Kurd in history, nobody knows he's a Kurd. Saladin, who was the great Muslim conqueror. And the problem for the Kurds there is that he responded to, I don't know if you'd say a higher calling. He wasn't fighting for Kurdish national rights, he was fighting for Islam. And although he kept Kurdish warriors close to him and used them for his most trusted tasks, and there was tension even then between the ethnic groups, that wasn't what he was fighting for. And as a result, the Kurds have a very funny relationship with their one local boy made good. Every time you have an article, and I think when Time Magazine did their People of the Millennium, and of course they included Saladin, anytime his name comes up, you can get 1,000 letters to the editor saying, you didn't emphasize the fact that Saladin was a Kurd, etc., etc. But at the same time, they don't really like him. They wish that he'd been fighting for them, many of them, instead of fighting for Islam, because such a great warrior, perhaps, would have been able to create a Kurdistan empire, and we would all know who they were, like we know about the Persian Empire or the Ottoman Empire.